Well, it's been a minute or several minutes since I actually came live right here and talked to you because we've been doing a lot of recording stuff for other clients. In fact, we've just finished 24 total episodes for one client, and we'll be back in October. By the time we're done, we'll probably finish the year with about 48 episodes of their talk show in the can. Now, these are interviews that we're doing. We're taking the entire studio setup, everything that we have here, and we're actually taking it to their location. Now, what that means for me is it makes it really complicated for me to get right here. But in the process of that same time, we've also had an opportunity kind of fall into our lap that we had no idea could possibly be there. So if you're actually looking at the screen, I'm going to show you a new, well, you see it on the screen right now, the Liftable logo, Liftable TV. And Liftable TV is a new programming platform for those who are conservative-minded, predominantly Christian-minded. And they've asked for the 3 different programs that we do, the different content that we produce from Tell It Like It Is, which is this program itself, Leading Leaders, also Story Power. So you can't see it really good unless you zoom in. So let me walk real close to the camera. This is our new logo for Story Power TV. It'll help if I take the on-screen graphics off. It's our new logo for Story Power TV. And we've got a new co-host that will be doing some of our shows with us by the name of Maddie. I think you're going to like Maddie. She's sweet. She's funny. She's a pageant contestant. She's working on her master's degree. Very intelligent, very witty, but also very, very millennial. So she's really in tune with what's going on in the world today. Very sharp, very quick communicator, and very articulate. And all of those things mean she's a great balance for me. Being smart, she balances me for sure. The other side of smart is me. But she's also quick-witted and very good communicator. And so I want to have that balanced perspective, the age difference, the challenges. When we talk about people's stories, when we talk about what's going on in the world and the way you view the world, we want to make sure that we have something to offer that's a little bit different. So Story Power will begin producing some almost documentary style, magazine style shows where we'll have multiple interviews. We'll have some on-site events. We've actually got some events coming up in the future for Story Power where we'll actually take the camera crew to an event that's already going on, or we'll cause one, and we'll interview people that are there on the spot, kind of man on the street style interviews. But we'll also do some behind the scenes footage and B-roll, if you will, of the actual venue, event, location, or celebrity that we're featuring in that particular program, because a lot of times you find that there's a story that the individuals might have, the individuals who are participating in a rally, the individuals who are attending an event or an outdoor festival. And there's a reason that they went, and there's a reason that they're a part of it, but there's an entirely different reason that maybe it was put together, or a different story that's being told by the news media. See, one of the things we really want to do with Story Power TV is we want to challenge the narrative. We want to challenge the narrative at every angle because we know the narrative is also a tool. It's a tool of manipulation, and sometimes the narrative is not a good thing. But we also know there are certain places, like right here where you're seeing this video right now, that might very quickly just turn us off, notch us back, pretend like we don't have any notice. I don't know if you've ever tried, but if you actually go, oh, push the wrong button twice, look at that. If you actually go to YouTube and you type in my name, J. Loren Norris, you may or may not find my videos, which is ironic because J. Loren Norris is in the title and in the copy of every video I've ever produced on YouTube. It's also the name of my channel. But if you just go to YouTube and search my name, I don't always come up in the first page, sometimes not even the first 2 pages. I don't know why that is. Call it whatever you want to, but here's what I do know. Liftable TV is creating 3 different program platform spaces for Transforming Grace TV, which are the interviews my wife and I do with relationships that are in trouble. Also for Story Power TV, the ones that I just described to you, and also for Leading Leaders. What that means for us is that we will very soon be producing content that will be exclusively found there because we know that it's going to be throttled, blocked, censored, covered, not exposed, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. We know that for a couple of bucks a month, you can subscribe to Liftable and have access to everything that we do. And we can be as direct and frank about our scriptural references, about what God's done in our life, about the truth of the Holy Spirit, about the conversations that we have that sometimes are not acceptable on all social media platforms. It seems really ironic. I remember the day when I was back in talk radio, way back when I was in talk radio, we had a very strict list of words that you cannot say on the air. That today are, well, they're pretty much acceptable. They're in common language. You hear them from 14-year-olds when you're standing in line at Whataburger. But you also hear them on radio and television and social media all the time. I mean, there are places where you can produce pornography, but you can't talk about Scripture. You can produce videos of people truly being beaten to death. They've been on Facebook from all throughout the riots and on Twitter, but you can't read the Bible. I mean, you could. You could even record it and live stream it. But if you do, chances are nobody's ever going to see it. I mean, it'll be up there if you hunt for it, if you know how to hunt for it. But otherwise, it's just going to be buried beyond the light of day. Liftable TV, I think, gives us a chance to talk about some of those things that may not be talked about elsewhere. And so right here in the studio, we will be producing that kind of content for Liftable TV. There will be Transforming Grace interviews. There will be Story Power interviews. There will be Leading Leaders content. Now, what I plan to do with Leading Leaders is to go back over some of the stuff that was originally only produced for the quality of streaming. Some of that content will be completely retaught. Some of the stuff even that right now is on my website, and the only way to get access to it is to buy the course. I'm going to reteach some of that content, and I will eventually make that available on the website for the course. But in the process of recording it, we will put some of those recordings up as episodes on Liftable TV. I will go back to doing Leading Leaders on a daily basis, but you won't always be able to find it on social media, probably just some teasers on social media. So I'm just letting you know that. I don't want you to feel like you're being gypped. I don't want you to feel like you're being ripped off. I will still do some stuff that's quick hit, 3 to 5 minutes, that will be on the blog. It'll be on the leadingleaderspodcast.com. It'll be available through various social media pieces, but the serious half hour or more teachings around leadership and communication skills, around father skills, around keeping your faith engaged in your leadership and engaging leadership in your faith walk. All of those things are going to be available on Liftable, and then some of those will be available as courses on the website. We're also going to be partnering with a ministry called Awaken. Awaken the World is a ministry that's doing tent revivals and stuff like that. Dr. Joshua Fowler has been in the ministry for decades, has been very influential all over the world. I believe what he told me last was they've launched churches in 57 different nations, or they've at least done ministry in 57 different nations, and they've launched churches in many of those. That's a pretty serious impact. That's the kind of impact that we want to continue to have. It's also a place where we want to continue to help to equip the saints for the work of the kingdom, because I know there are a lot of people out there who want to get busy about changing the world, but they're not sure how. They don't have a platform, they don't have the access, they don't have the training, they don't know how to communicate what is really important to their heart. So we want to be a part of helping all of those things to happen. And I want you to be a part of that too. So I'm not telling you not to subscribe to Liftable right now, but I am going to tell you this. There's a tiny little fraction, and it's not a lot of money. You couldn't live on it unless you got 1 million subscribers. But there's a tiny little fraction in the relationship that we have with Liftable that will come back to us from the subscribers. Again, I'm not telling you don't go subscribe today. I'm just saying that when our page is all set up, when you actually go to Liftable and you can find my page under their programs that are live, and it may be under lifestyle, it may be under teaching, it may be under relationships, it may be under home and family, it may be under faith, it may be under all of those. But when you see my face and you see the Story Power logo, or you see the Transforming Grace logo, or you see a page that looks like this, when you see that page on Liftable TV under the programs available, click on that page, subscribe right there, and that little bit of royalty will actually come back to us to help us cover the cost of producing the shows. And there will be costs incurred. One of the events that we had to postpone due to a COVID outbreak was an event on the border in Texas, and we were planning to go in early August. We had to postpone that. We haven't reset that date yet. But it's going to be a great event to gather stories from people who are freshly across the border, people who are new Americans, people maybe their faith has been around for a long, long time, but their American experience is brand new. Those are people we want to have a conversation with. We want to see what God's doing in their life. We want to see where they're going next and what God could do for them. What kind of transformation are they seeking? And I think those will be some fascinating interviews. So we would appreciate your support. We'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing. We'd love for you to support us. So when you see that page, that Liftable, Leading Leaders on Liftable TV, click on that, subscribe there. I haven't loaded them in here yet, but we do have pages that look very similar to that for Transforming Grace and for Story Power. So if you see any one of those, please jump in, be a part of what we're doing, subscribe, share it, and really look for something unique. I'd also appreciate and highly appreciate any kind of comments, feedback, ideas, people that you think we should interview. And I want to extend this interview opportunity. Many of you have been guests. I think we've done close to 70 interviews between the Transforming Grace, the Kingdom First Responders, the Servant Leader series of leadership, the Meet the Messenger, and the Story Power interviews that were all done for streaming. Very few of those have seen the light of day anywhere else besides when they were Facebook Live. Some of them we did multi-camera, but they were just way too complicated to edit without spending thousands of dollars to get them edited. Now that we have the live switchability, now that we can produce what we call live to tape, as long as I'm not pushing the same button 3 times and causing weird things to happen on the screen. Now that we have the ability to do that, we have the ability to produce these shows in high quality, in full HD, and present them to the network in literally hours. We can do several interviews as we've done with our clients, 24 interviews over about 30 days period, and have them ready to upload within hours. That's what we want to do. So if you've been a guest on our show in the past and you would like to see your program on Liftable TV, you'd like to extend that exposure, you'd like to, whether it's talk about your book or talk about what God's done in your marriage or whatever it is, any one of those things, we would love you to be there. And if you've got something to promote, whether it's a book or it's an event, and it's a timely thing, and you'd like to sponsor a program while being a guest on the show, let's talk about that. We'd love for you to be a part of that too. You can help defray some of the costs and drive some extra traffic to your event. But we would love to be a part of your life in any way that we can. So recommendations, content recommendations, debates, conversations, panels, whatever you'd like to see that fits into one of those 3 categories: stories of transformation, leadership, or transforming grace, which are marriages that have struggled and found hope on the other side. Our job at Transforming Grace, yes, we're transforming stories and transforming lives because that's what everything we do is about. But at Transforming Grace, we definitely want to talk about relationships that are revealing hope, especially when they're revealing hope in broken relationships. No relationship is perfect. Every relationship is going to struggle. And when they struggle, there's an opportunity for healing. There's an opportunity for hope. There's an opportunity for a new direction. That's what we want to be a part of. So if that describes your relationship, please join us on Transforming Grace. We'd love to have you here in the studio and sit down and talk for 45 minutes to an hour about how God has transformed you through your spouse, or vice versa. I want you to be a part of what we're doing. I want you to jump on board. I want you to contribute. I want you to be on the camera with us. I want you to tell your story. But also understand we still fund this out of pocket. So what we don't get in royalties or sponsorships for the program is still paid for by all the other stuff that we do in the world of AV, whether that's DJing a wedding, DJing a school event, DJing a festival, which we've got some of those coming up. There are car shows and community festivals and outdoor fairs and carnivals, church events, big tent revival type stuff, and also the filming that we do for clients. So if we can serve you in any of those ways, I promise you we'll make you a good deal. It won't be cheap, but it'll be good, it'll be worth it, and it'll be a great value compared to what you're going to find anywhere else, because all of that money goes back to support our household so that we can pay for programming like this. Love you to be a part. Jump in, will you? But again, if you get a chance, I want you to go back to our Liftable page, look for it. It's going to look just like this. Go to liftable.tv. When you find it, look for this page under all the different headings. When you find that, subscribe. Become a part of what we're doing and look for new content. If you've got suggestions for content, I'm open to hear it. Love to hear what you have to say. thanks again just for jumping on this little live. Again, nothing special, nothing spectacular, just me saying, sorry I haven't been around in a couple of weeks. That's unlike me in almost 6 years now of producing content. It's the first time I've taken off more than 2 or 3 days at a time. First time I've taken off almost 15 days. But we're back. The studio's all set up, and the next time we're tearing it down is at the end of October. Unless somebody comes and says, hey, we need you to do all this at our place. And then we'll tear it down and move it to their place. But please reach out. Send us some comments. Send us some thoughts right here on this Facebook stream, on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you're seeing this. And also send us an email if you'd like to be on the program. Send me a text message if you have that number. Love to hear from you. Love to get you scheduled to be on the show. The Servant Leader Series stuff, some of that's still high quality enough that we can actually take those productions and put them on the Leading Leaders page, and we will. Some of the Kingdom First Responder stuff, those are also high enough quality we can use those because they weren't produced for streaming. The ones that were produced solely for streaming, probably not going to be able to use those. But we would love to have your input, your content, and your face on our show. So join us. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. Have a blessed day.